There are people who routinely show up for us and people who routinely don't. And Christian, McGovern, Robin, right, LaBeouf, Mailman, Haji, y'all already know, right? These are people who routinely show up for us every single day at a great personal loss and personal risk, right? And so on this day of Juneteenth, we do not take that for granted, and we know that that's exactly what our ancestors need, and that's what their descendants still need. And so we appreciate the courage, right? It's really just doing what we're supposed to do, but we know in the times that we're in that it's deeply courageous to do the right thing. And so we don't take that for granted for a single moment as the Black Heritage Committee. I was also forgotten to say that it's also Caribbean American Heritage Month, and it's also Pride Month. So, I want to acknowledge Jen Gaston from the Worcester Caribbean American Carnival Association is here. They are celebrating their 12th annual Worcester Caribbean American Carnival in August, and Kitty Carnival in July. And I think that we all know the contributions of our Caribbean American brothers and sisters and family and friends cannot be understated in this country. And we know that the contributions of our Black, queer, and trans family cannot be understated as well. Solidarity to all, right? So in just a moment, we're going to read the Juneteenth General Order number 3. If you have a program, it's in there. And we think it's important because, again, we've been saying free-ish, and this is the reason why, because our committee member, Fred Taylor, is going to read the words so we can all hear them together. The words are not pretty, right? The words are not, hey, y'all, you free. It's a little more complicated than that. And so I just want us to, again, position ourselves that is as far south as you're going to get in this country, right? When you were an enslaved person that tried to embody kujichagulia, or self-determination, the idea that you can liberate yourself and you can run away, if you were caught as punishment, they sold you far south because it was harder to run from Texas than it was to run from Virginia, right? And so imagine that the folks in Galveston, I imagine, were probably rebellious spirits, right? Who might have ran once or twice. For folks who don't know, we visited Galveston in maybe 2 or 3 years ago when our family went to Texas. Galveston is an island, and so it's not like it's connected. You're on water, so you're on an island. It is genuinely an island, and so to think that these people who probably might have had some broken spirits, these might have been people that tried to run a few times, endured great violence. If they would have tried to run to Mexico, right, they would have seen that something different was happening. But these were an isolated people, and again, I like to think these were our rebellious ancestors that were on Galveston, right? That tried to liberate themselves many times and still explored what resistance looks like, even in Galveston, right? But this was a vulnerable population, and again, my elder Pokey said maybe we shouldn't say General Gordon Granger, who is the general that led it, but it was 300 Black Union soldiers that came to enforce the Juneteenth doctrine. And so imagine you're seeing 300 Black men on horses with gun on hip showing up to enforce that this is what's going to happen. And I think that visual is important for us to just hold space for, right? And so without further ado, Fred Taylor, Black Heritage Committee member, NAACP president. He got a long resume. Y'all already know. But most importantly, this is my friend. Is going to read the words. If you have a program, you can see them. And again, we just invite you to really sit with what is being said, because it really talks about why we keep saying free-ish. Free, but we know why, right? So, Fred Taylor.
Thank you, Johnny. Hey, thank you everyone for showing up today. And I really want to give a special shout out to the Juneteenth Festival Committee, because a lot of folks don't know what kind of work goes on and how much planning is involved in this. Now, I'm going to read our General Order number 3. The people are informed that in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters, and slaves, in connection heretofore existing between them, become that between employer and hired labor. The freed are advised to remain in their present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect the military posts and that they will not be supported in idleness other there or elsewhere. Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you. So again, free-ish. You're free, but you're not an enslaved person anymore. You're an employee. Don't leave stay where you are, work for wages, but we know what the wage was. And if you choose to just say, I'm not gonna work, forget this, I worked for free for all these years, I'm just gonna do nothing. That's not gonna work either. So free, right? But we know what comes after. We know that Jim Crow segregation is coming after. We know that police violence prevails today, right? So we know free, but we still have a lot of work to do, right?
Yes, we
For
do.
all people, but in this particular moment for Black people, for the descendants of enslaved people in this country, right, who have endured so much, who are in a really unique position in this country, which I think we just have to hold space for every day of the year, right? While we're in solidarity, it's important to say something different about this group who's been here for 400 years and still suffers the way that we do, right?
That's right.
So, in just a moment, we're going to raise the Juneteenth flag. And just so that we know the symbology of the flag, a gentleman named Ben Hayes created the flag in 1997, so the same year that Worcester had its first Juneteenth something, in the same year I was born. So, 28 years of a Juneteenth flag.
Wow.
1997. He is from Boston as well. Thank you, Miss Jen. Yes, so not far from Worcester, right? And he said we need a flag that just holds space for us, right? Again, we know what that American flag is. We know who it's for. We know it's traditionally not been for us. So the Juneteenth flag is red, white, and blue because it honors the fact that we are the hands that built this. We are the ones who, we are American through and through. Though we're not, we are, right? We have done everything that we need to do to quote unquote be American, but we're still not, okay? So the colors are red, white, and blue for that reason. You'll see a star because it represents Galveston in Texas, which is the Lone Star State. You'll see an arc, which acknowledges opportunities on the horizon, and you'll see a bird, which is supposed to represent, again, like new opportunities, new beginnings for Black people on the day of Juneteenth. And so, we're going to get ready to raise the flag, but I just want to close by saying, one, thank you for being here today. Before leaving, if you choose, we know when beautiful people like this get together, everybody want to hang out a little bit, because there's a lot of really special people here. I know we acknowledge the elected officials, but I was telling my elder, Miss Doreen, like, I mean, they're cool too, but like, you're just as important, right? Y'all are just as important, if not a little more important. So, beautiful people are here, and y'all are welcome to go upstairs. Again, thank you to the YWCA for offering the boardroom. We have chairs, like freshmen, people are welcome to hang out if they choose to do that. We also want to invite folks again to the Juneteenth Festival, which is this Saturday from 12 to 8 at Institute Park, and we hope that folks will. I want to just give a special shout out to the auntie corner over there. Joelle had the baby for a minute. My auntie's got the baby. That's Village. That's letting me do this, and they got my baby, and I good. So thank y'all. Also very important. And lastly, I just want to say again, as we continue to be in solidarity with others, I just remind folks that Black American people in this country, the ascendants of enslaved people, know struggle very well. We are not new to this. We are not new to a budget getting cut. We are not new to getting snatched off the street by masked men, right? We are not new to our babies just being left on the street and somebody took their mom. This is not new to us. We have been here and we're gonna be here again if all of us don't do something to make it better, right? And so what might look like inaction, which might look like Black and brown people not at a protest or not in the streets, does not mean that we are not doing work. We have always done work, and our work is taking care of each other.
That's right.
So I just have to say again, our ancestors probably didn't show up to a protest, but they were doing work. They were absolutely doing work. They were taking care of nieces and nephews. They were taking care of babies. They were making a meal plan, right, for our families. We were taking care of business. And even if you don't see work that's happening, it doesn't mean work is not happening. Because every day we honor our ancestors, and we know very well that we are not free. We have known for 400 years, and we know we're not there. And so we appreciate solidarity with all people, right? It's deeply important. And we also know that affinity space is necessary. We know that it's important for all of us to figure out what our role is and to do that. But again, nobody's role is sitting out and doing nothing, right?
That's right.
So I like to say, imagine like when the Civil Rights Act happened and like you was at home on your couch. What? I don't want to be that person. So sorry. Like I like to say we might not be on the freedom train. I hope that we are, right? But Harriet Tubman was not on the freedom train, but she still did her work. She put railroad tracks down. So whether we're putting tracks down or we're on that train, and we out. Exactly. You got to make sure you're doing your work. Whether you're on that train or it's your great-great-great-grandchild that's on that train, you got to do work. All right? So, thank you, all of you, for being here. think if there are members of the committee that want to come and help to raise this beautiful flag that we're seeing, we invite folks to come on up. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's easier here. Just saying. It's a nice flagpole. So again, thank you everybody.
Because that's